We are Markstrat Team T, also known as Team Canberry. I'm Ann Wynn along with Brenda Gerardo. We are going to share our market stimulation experience we had with our marketing management class. We will be going over the following agenda. We will discuss our firm overview, the overall performance, our segmentation and targeting strategies, the marketing mix along with the 4P, product, price, place, and promotion, and wrap it up with our lessons learned. Starting off with our firm overview, Canterbury operated for 6 periods, marketing 4 Sonnet brands targeting 3 segments. Our top product that did well throughout the simulation was Tone. It geared towards the high earners and focused on performance and convenience and distributed quite evenly to all 3 distribution channels: specialty stores, mass merchandising, and online. Next, our product Tops did fairly well in the beginning. Since we started more than one segment, it didn't do very well. Tops had a great value for performance and convenience with the shoppers, and they really liked Tops. We then attempted to launch 2 new brands, Tonic and Toxic, towards the explorers. We saw that Team R's brand, Rose, was the only product gearing towards that segment and wanted to launch a product that would be able to compete both with high performance and lower convenience. But both product launches did not do well and were immediately removed from the market. Moving over to the overall performance. Starting off with our firm's performance, we started very weak in the beginning but maintained consistency and growth. Our stock price was the worst, at share price index of 670 after round 1. We took hits in our stock price for 2 rounds due to launching a new brand and a research and development project that failed. The stock price after the final simulation increased to 967, which placed us 3rd out of 5th against our competitors. Next, let's discuss the brand performance. Tone was our top brand. The brand awareness for high earners were extremely high and ended at 78%. We were able to reduce advertising and research since the brand awareness was high throughout the simulations. Tops was weak in the beginning but ended up as a top-selling brand. Once we focused on just one segment, it did fairly well. But the brand awareness was quite high in all 3 segments that we targeted prior to changing it just to shoppers. So it started at Savers of 49%, Explorers at 68%, and Shoppers at 75%. Again, Tonic did not do well and was extremely weak in its brand performance. Finally, let's move over to segment performance. Tone has the most market share for high earners until the last round. It came second at 30.4% after Loop at 30.8%. Team L increased their commercial team tremendously to gain a little bit more market share, but overall Tone dominated throughout. Tops, once we focused solely on the shoppers segment, we increased the advertising and commercial team dollars on Tops, which resulted us to have the most market share of 47% in the shopper segment. Tonic and Toxic had less than 1% in all consumer segments. Let's change gears and look at the overall financial performance compared to our competitors. We did fairly well, an increase in revenues after each period. Although our cost of goods sold were extremely high, which we believe is the reason why our net earnings were not as high compared to our competitors. We had to sell more products in order to recover from those expenses. We should have focused on a cheaper product that could have helped us maximize our return. Now Brenda is going to discuss the marketing perspective of our experience with the Markstrat simulation.
Market segmentation and targeting. It's the process of dividing an entire market up into different customer segments. Some of the important key factors to keep in mind are which segments to target, how to design products satisfying the needs of these segments, how to position new brands effectively, and how to reposition existing brands to better fit customer needs. Our market segmentation approach was not very effective in the beginning. We targeted more than one segment in each brand, which our results were unfavorable. Once Ann and I focused on one segment per brand, we noticed an increase in our market share in the segments that we were targeting. As Ann mentioned earlier, Tone targeted high earners, Tops targeted shoppers, and Toxic attempted to target the explorers. We targeted high earners at the beginning since they were a high growth segment, which resulted in our favor. Product. In order to target our customer segments effectively, we had to gear our brand characteristics towards our segment, towards specific segments. For example, high earners liked to buy expensive products due to their social status while demanding performance and convenience. Our price was at $4.40. With a high power of 75, the display was 24, battery life was 74, design index was 7, and it had 16 features. Our strategy was to match products with user preferences. We applied repositioning strategies with our commercial advertising, commercial teams, and perceptual advertising. In order for us to implement our repositioning strategies, we utilized the multidimensional study and consumer segment ideal products. Unfortunately, we didn't do a very good job in repositioning Tonic or Toxic. We should have mimicked our competitors who were doing good in the Explore segment, which we failed to do so. Price. Price is a tool to communicate marketing. The biggest mistake that you can do when it comes to pricing is focusing on cost and or not changing prices to address competition. The price elasticity changes along in the price. The recommended retail price is the price that you specified in your marketing mix decisions. The average retail price is the average end user price, taking into account the discount offered by distributors. Finally, the average selling price is equal to average retail price minus the distribution margin. As you can see in our charts, our prices were relatively high for the most part because we had to keep up with our competition and not be left behind. With our Tone products, we used marketing skimming by starting at a higher price and lowering it over time based on other competitors' pricing. Place. It is important to research and place products in the right distribution channels. In the beginning, we did not do much research on the segment's buying behaviors. As the simulations went on, we utilized a shopping habits study that informed us of where our segments like to shop. We then repositioned our commercial teams accordingly to the distribution channels that our segments preferred. We were able to increase market share in those segments and increase our brand awareness. Promotion. Once you have identified your target market, you now have to come up with different ideas on how to attract your customers. Although in period 1 we didn't have any communication dimensions, however, the message quality was still excellent throughout the other periods, and we focused on communicating performance and convenience, which increased our sales. Throughout Markstrat simulation, we learned the value of promotion through advertising and commercial teams. From periods 1 through 6, we increased our commercial advertising and competitive advertising in the amount of $9,000. It resulted in brand awareness and increase in market share. And now I'm going to pass it back to Ann so she can do the run-through of the lessons learned in Markstrat.
We had several lessons learned throughout our experience with Markstrat simulation. First, let's start out with the segmentation and targeting. It is extremely important to segment one brand to each segment. Never try to segment more than one towards a brand. That's one mistake that we did in the beginning with tops. And once we focused on just one segment, the tops did extremely well. Next is the market and research studies. Highly leverage these studies because it helps you learn how to reposition your products in order to compete amongst your competitors. Next is the advertising and commercial teams. We did not utilize our budget heavily on advertising and commercial teams in the beginning, and this really hurt our share price index in the beginning, but once we focused on putting our budget towards advertising and commercial teams, our share price index definitely increased. Another lessons learned that to utilize the R&D projects early on. Our products did not change throughout all 6 simulations, and we should have focused on adjusting our brand characteristics for tops to be able to compete with explorers early on. So we definitely do recommend to launch an R&D project early on rather than later. Last but not least, the marketing mix, which plays in with all the 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion, which all correlates with each other. Make sure not to just focus on 1 or 2 Ps, but all 4 Ps because they all make an impact on your positioning of your products. So be sure to focus on the 4 Ps when doing this stimulation. And that concludes our experience with Markstrat simulation. We learned a lot of marketing concepts throughout this experience and have a lot better understanding on marketing management as a whole. Thank you.